Today we're checking out the brand new Darkrock Pro 6 CPU cooler from Be Quiet. On paper it promises some impressive cooling while keeping noise under control, but as always, specifications only tell you so much. So in this review we're going to take a close look at the design, build quality, installation process, cooling performance, and of course how quiet it actually is under load. Be Quiet includes a screwdriver with the cooler. That's always nice to see. It means you don't have to go searching through your own tools to get it installed. This box has the installation instructions and all the other stuff you're going to need to get it installed. They provide a small tube of thermal paste. It's enough for a couple applications. There's separate packages with mounting hardware for Intel and AMD sockets. The list of socket support's huge, so it's very unlikely you're going to run into any compatibility issues. And here's a first look at the cooler. If you've seen previous Darkrock coolers, then this one should look familiar. It's got that classic all-black design and heavy-duty build quality just like the models before it. And again, just like previous models, it's a big cooler. The dimensions need to be taken seriously when you're planning a build with this thing, especially if you're planning to pair it with a compact case. It's using a dual tower 7 heat pipe setup with 2 fans. It's rated for 300 watt TDP, which is quite good on an air cooler. The middle fan can be removed by popping off the top plate and pulling it out. It's got a daisy chain connector on it that connects to the front mounted fan to help reduce cables in your build. The fin stack looks good, tightly packed fins in there with the backside having an alternating indent pattern. The base is copper, but it's got a nickel plating, which means you can use liquid metal thermal paste on it if you want. Be Quiet crammed a small heatsink on top of the base to squeeze out every last drop of cooling performance. And one of my favorite features from the Darkrock series is back. It's the pre-installed mounting bridge. I know it doesn't sound like much, but in my experience, messing around with the mounting bridge is the worst part of installing an air cooler. So having it already attached makes installation way more user-friendly. Both fans are custom designed Silent Wings fans, but they're not the same. The center fan's actually 135 millimeters, which is a non-standard size, but the front fan has the standard 120 millimeter dimensions you'd expect on a cooler this size. The maximum speed on the front's 2000 RPM and 1900 on the center, and they can move air at 52.94 and 79.48 cubic feet per minute respectively. Memory clearance is about 49 millimeters, which is not the lowest I've seen on big air coolers like this, but what's cool on this one is the front fan sits on a set of sliding rails so you can push it up if you need more clearance for extra tall RAM modules. There's a speed switch along the back edge that lets you prioritize either performance or quiet. Performance mode allows the fans to ramp up faster and obviously produces more noise. Switching over to quiet lowers the fan speeds across the PWM range and enables a passive mode that allows the fans to stop completely below 40% PWM. Alright, so for the setup, I'm installing on LGA 1700. The CPU in this test system is the Intel Core i7-13700K. The first step is getting the Intel mounting backplate and inserting the posts into each of the 4 holes. There are different alignments on here, so pay attention to where you need to set yours up based on which socket you have. And this just goes onto the back side of the motherboard into the 4 holes around the socket. Back on the main side, we need to thread on these little risers onto each of the 4 posts on the backplate. These are going to hold the mounts that support the entire weight of the cooler. This is what the mounting brackets look like. For LGA 1700, we're going to be using the outermost holes again, just like with the backplate, and these attach with 2 screws each. After you get them installed, it's a good idea to double check to make sure they're nice and snug. You don't want anything loose or moving around because that could affect the cooler's contact with the CPU. Now I'm going to put a little bit of thermal paste onto the CPU's integrated heat spreader. I like to just do a line down the middle and let the force of the cooler do the spreading. Now we can take the cooler, make sure you take off the plastic cover from the base, and then lower it straight down onto the CPU. We gotta tighten down the 2 screws on the bridge, alternating back and forth a little bit at a time on each side so we get nice even pressure to spread out the thermal paste. This is the part that can be a pain when the bridge comes as a separate piece, but we don't have to worry about that because it's already installed for us on here. Now I'm gonna take the top plate with the center fan, get it lined back up, and drop it into the cooler. You gotta press down a little bit on the corners to get it to lock into place. For the cables, first I'm going to link the front and center fans together with the daisy chain connection. And the last step is to take the PWM connector from the daisy chain connection and plug it into the CPU fan header on the motherboard. And that's it. It's a pretty easy and straightforward installation. Once you have the cooler installed, you can start to get a sense of the scale here. This is the Be Quiet Lightbase 500LX PC case. There's a full-size ATX motherboard, G.Skill Trident Z5 Royal memory, and an Asus RTX 3090 GPU. I don't have any fans installed in the top, but there is still some clearance up there if you wanted to do that. Overall, it's a big cooler, and it's going to take up a significant amount of space above the GPU. It's also going to obstruct the view of the RAM, so keep that in mind when pairing memory with one of these coolers. It probably doesn't make sense to spend on RGB RAM when it's going to be mostly covered up anyway. Alright, let's jump into the performance testing. During a 5-minute loop of Cinebench R23, the DarkRock Pro 6 kept up with the intense heat output from the 13700K. Just like the Pro 5 and Elite coolers from last generation, the difference between performance and quiet mode isn't really much when you're pushing the CPU to its limits like this. Exporting a 4K project in DaVinci Resolve 21, the average P-Core temp stayed just below 80C in performance mode and crept up into the lower 80s in quiet mode. It's a good result when you consider how taxing this workload is. You do save a few decibels of noise for the added temperatures by switching over to quiet mode though. For the gaming test, starting with Cyberpunk 2077, I ran everything at 1080p with medium graphics settings to keep the CPU in the equation rather than offloading the workload to the graphics card. Again, considering the workload, these are pretty good results. And finally, Forza Horizon 5, same 1080p medium settings. Performance mode pulled way ahead here and kept the 13700K a lot cooler than quiet mode. I ran the same test multiple times to rule out any variables, and I kept getting these same results. And keep in mind, if you're gaming at resolutions above 1080p, you should see lower temperatures as the system becomes less reliant on the CPU. So should you pick up one of these for your next build? If you're prioritizing quiet, this is a really nice way to go, especially if you're not running super demanding tasks all the time. You can switch over to quiet mode and take advantage of silent passive cooling, which is not something you can get away with on a lot of coolers out there. Plus it's built well, it's easy to install, and even though it's a giant air cooler, it still looks pretty good in your build. Shopping links are in the description if you want to take a closer look, and as usual, give the video a thumbs up and get subscribed for more PC and tech content, and we'll see ya.